gonna beat me in this division.
If you had a choice right now, who would you prove? Like, who would be like, I beat that guy right now, put him in the ring with me?
That bitch that just fought, Fundora, what the fuck you talking about? I fight Fundora, he just got the belt. That's my belt. Nobody took my titles. Nobody. I lost my titles because I fought Canelo. Duh. Get the money, dummies. Get the money, dummies. I think he stops majority of those guys that thought they could beat him, like Earl Spence, and I think he stops him. Fundora's an excellent fighter. He's a champ. So reason why he's 6 foot, he dominant. But
I feel like you get knocked out by Brian Mendoza, probably the best thing that could happen in your career. Ever since, we have seen you been growing, right? You've been using distance. Speaking of the next fight, Charlo was after the fight talking about he pretty much gave you guys the belt, that no one has beaten him. It makes sense to fight Charlo next. How do you like to fight with Charlo?
I think that's a great fight. It's a PBC fighter as well. The last undisputed 154 champion as well. So, you know, fight with him seems like it makes sense.
I think the rematch Fundora with Tim was an adjusted Fundora. I don't think it was the first Fundora. The first Fundora, I think Tim was about to knock him out. You know, I wasn't that impressed with that Fundora. But Fundora's gotten better. He's made some improvements. He has this little half steps he makes now to adjust his distance, which once a guy 6'5", 6'6" knows how to adjust his distance, it creates a lot more problems. I don't understand why Fundora was never understanding how to adjust his distance before. I think in the first fight, Fundora was on his way to getting beat.
In a shocking display of violence, Sebastian Fundora had just taken Keith Thurman apart. But the story wasn't about the blood on the painting. It was the man who was sitting next to the ring and looking at the disaster with a cold, calculating face. The undisputed 154-pound king, Jermell Charlo, did more than just watch the fight. He was in charge of the whole thing. As soon as the referee stopped the killing, Charlo put a big, clear mark on Fundora's back.
Jermell, what'd you think of, as you used to call him, the tall, lanky motherfucker tonight? What'd you think of Sebastian Fundora?
That little bitch got a little power, huh? He got a little power, he stepped his game up. I like Sebastian Fundora for me.
Has he improved though over the years? Do you see him as a better fighter now than ever before?
I think he stops majority of those guys that thought they could beat him, like Earl Spence, and I think he stops him. Fundora's an excellent fighter. He's a champ. So reason why he's 6 foot, he dominant. But
Keith Thurman learned the hard way that getting into the ring with Sebastian Fundora is a bad way to wake up. It wasn't just a fight in the ring. It wasn't a good match physically. Fundora stopped Thurman's whole plan from the start because he was 6 feet 5 inches tall and had a huge reach advantage. The experienced fighter looked like he had no idea how to deal with the man who fights like a monster but moves like a lightweight, steady pressure and dangerous angles. By the 6th round, the doctor at the ring had to step in and stop the beating. The damage was terrible.
The people were standing on their feet. We was just getting into the grind, you know? And he was getting really comfortable swinging wide, swinging big, swinging wide. Because he's young, because he trains hard, he put that press. Because he's a volume puncher, he put that press and the referee reacted to that, you know? So Fundora's preparation, his fight style, it all ended up planning out for him. But as an OG, man, 4 more minutes, it would have been a lot of fun, I promise you. 4 more minutes, and he could have made a mistake right in front of me, man. I was waiting for it. I knew it was going to be one of these kind of tough fights against a young champion, and I had that long-term vision, but the ref didn't let me get there, man. So it was unfortunate, but I'm grateful, you know. I'm okay. I'm able to talk to you guys. I don't need to be in the hospital. Everything is what it is. I want to give a shout out to my sponsor, ICI, and just, you know, I'll be back, man. I want to do great things in boxing once again, and I'm going to come back hard.
Shannon Sharp, a sports reporter, said Thurman felt embarrassed that he couldn't pull the trigger on his 37-year-old legs. Tim Bradley, a boxing analyst, says the judge saved Thurman from having to go to the hospital and back.
Whatever he had planned and dancing around knowing you on 37-year-old legs, understanding that's not going to last you. That's only going to last you so long. You got to gain his respect soon as the fight started, Uncle Joe. You got to gain his respect. At no point in the fight was Fundora worried about Keith Thurman's power.
At all.
Game plan he came to the fight with. Fundora came out with a goddamn left and caught him right in the middle of the face.
That was it.
And that was it right there.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
If you're gonna fight somebody that tall, who the best thing you can do is fight at distance, smother the punches, fight on the inside.
He did smother him with his damn face. He smothered him.
Hey, Joe, if you gonna fight somebody that tall,
Joe, before you go any further, you say come out with a game plan. Hell, it looked like he crammed the night before the test. You know what I'm saying, Joe? He didn't study at all. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, Thurman, what the hell are you doing?
Hey, Uncle Joe, is one thing to understand what he should do. It's another thing to actually be able to execute it in the ring with somebody that goddamn tall, that goddamn long. Pause. But you got to make a fight like that ugly against somebody like that.
Thoughts and opinions were still being formed about the violent pause when Jermell Charlo made his move. It was caught on video by the Premier Boxing Champions media team that Charlo gave the newly crowned giant a harsh, unfiltered warning. He laughed off Thurman's bad act with a sneer and gave the camera a scary warning. He made it clear that he was ready and waiting by issuing a clear, but seriously limiting threat. You know that you can't beat me. Charlo doesn't think Fundora's scary height is an unbeatable tool. It's just a trick that needs to be shown. He saw an experienced player get completely destroyed and felt nothing but great confidence. This sent a message to the whole sport that he knew exactly how to bring the huge fire down to size.
But we here. What y'all talking about? We been here a long time ago. Y'all was giving everybody else fights. Only issue with Arl is he got in the ring for Fundora. You can't handle that. You can't handle that. You can't beat Fundora. I just watched him. He can't beat Fundora. I just watched him. Now, if he think he could beat Fundora, fight me first.
Who's this you're saying? You could like fight you first. You talk about Keith still or
something? Get on my face, dude. Ask somebody. Everybody can't beat me. Who can beat me in this division?
If you had a choice right now, who would you like? Who would be like, I beat that guy right now, put him in the ring with me?
That bitch that just fought, Fundora, what the fuck you talking about? I fight Fundora, he just got the belt. That's my belt. Nobody took my titles. Nobody. I lost my titles because I fought Canelo. Get the money, dummies.
How the
Get the money, dummies.
How the politics look now for you?
Get out here.
This wasn't just empty shit that was meant to go viral. Later, Charlo went down to do a live interview with Stephen A. Smith, where he told Smith his exact plan. He took a smart method, which shows that he doesn't want to use raw strength to beat a giant. Instead, he wants to use his great athleticism, quick footwork, and high boxing IQ to totally counter Fundora's huge reach.
How do you answer that?
I just think that I don't want you first off to be scared, and I just think that I gotta be a little bit more patient and let everything just flow. Instead of just going in there and making uneducated decisions or moves, I have to really step around, move my body correctly and finesse this. I'm real athletic, so I can move in that ring, and I could compete with the top when it comes under that. So I'm really extremely focused. I'm extremely confident as well too, and I just can't get overly confident.
Charlo boldly said that his deadly skills were similar to those of Brian Mendoza, the famous boxer who knocked out Fundora. But Charlo made it clear that he is much better than Mendoza at what he does. He promised a performance built on extreme subtlety and technique. He hoped not only to make it through the early rounds, but also to completely destroy his opponent and win by a wide margin.
Again. Yeah, and you're the only one who has ever been able to defeat Sebastian Fundora. Just what does that feel like for you, and what would be your advice for Thurman going into Saturday night?
As far as for me, it was surreal. It was just, something I'd manifested, I'd prayed for, and just prepared for it my whole life. I feel like everything kind of lined up for me. And I just knew in that moment, even the rounds where he was kind of getting downhill on me a little bit, winning some rounds, I never panicked. I was calm every time, in between rounds in the corner. And I just knew that my moment was here. So, for that's just what it was. I feel like it was the whole universe lining up for me. And just from all those years of being locked in.
While people are getting more excited about this historic fight, a very controversial issue is tearing the boxing community apart. Does Sebastian Fundora's amazing body put the 154-pound class at risk?
Sebastian Fundora is a problem, bro. This guy is... Everyone in that division honestly should be on notice. I just, how are they going to beat this guy? Honestly, how are they going to beat Fundora, man? Like, he has all these natural advantages over all these opponents in this division. Like, how are they going to fight him any different than what Thurman tried to do? Like, guy has the reach on you. He fights well on the inside, but he's just walking people over and using the reach. But I'll get into how the other fighters at 154 pounds could potentially do against him. But just kind of my thoughts, my takeaways of the fight, being there, in person to watch both Sebastian Fundora and Keith Thurman. If you were to ask me, like, man, well, what'd you think of the fight? I thought coming into the fight, what Sebastian did would be his plan, because he's been doing what he did in the last 2 fights that he's had. He's been walking people down. And if you notice, he's been using his distance a lot more, and Sebastian has been getting better. And when I mean he's been using his distance a lot more, dude, this guy over everyone, not only Thurman. I think against Thurman, he had a foot reach, like 12 inches of reach over him, but he's now using...
Fighters like Rolando Romero are going to great lengths to say what they think. Romero said it was wrong that Fundora, who is 6 feet 5 inches tall, reached the super welterweight limit. He said the scales should be checked and that Fundora should be in a much heavier weight class. It's a scary mental test for any fighter of average size. When you step into the ring against someone who is almost a foot taller than you, you feel suffocated with fear before you even throw a punch. Now the question is not so much about Fundora's boxing skills as it is about whether his unusual body measurements give him an unfair edge that no amount of training can overcome.
The best version you've seen, and
man, that dude need to be 86 for the division. He way too tall. I'm sorry, they need to calibrate them scales. I don't know how he making them weight classes. It is not fair.
Chico.
It is not fair.
So he beats Virgil Ortiz. You think
it is? Forget about. It is not fair for him to be in that weight class.
Would you pick him against the 154s? So is that what you're saying? Like,
it is not fair for him to be in that weight class. They need to calibrate them scales. We don't know how he makes that weight. All stuff. There is some kind of trickery going on in boxing that nobody wants to talk about.
What do you think about the sustained beatings that he passes out? When he fights, it's the way he gets on top of people and just destroys them.
Man, he over there trying to chop everybody's head off. I'm telling you like this, man. I sit there, man. I just look. I'm like, there's no way. Like you gotta go over there and just like boom, right on the top like that, right? Hope for the best, you know.
Facts. How would you beat him?
Like that, I would just sit down and I'll go like, and you know what? I bet you anything. I bet you he can make 47 too, and I don't know how he would do it.
How much better has he gotten? Like from?
Oh no, he's gotten way better.
Yeah.
He's gotten way better. Dude, that dude a freak of nature. I don't know how he do it.
Who do you think is a better challenge for him, Boots or Zayas? Provided that one of them wins.
Man, I think he beat. I think he beat them, man. Like I said, man, that's a difficult dude to beat. The thing is, how you gonna reach him? How you gonna reach him?
You gotta stay close to him. He's good on the inside, but you gotta stay in the pocket.
He's good on the inside. He's better on the inside.
Legendary boxers and top experts have completely changed their minds about this strange physical trait. No one agrees on how to handle a fight between obvious pedigree and amazing size.
Great fight, you know. Congratulations to Fundora for his magnificent victory. Shout out to Keith Thurman, you know, heart of a lion. And, you know, the better man won that day.
Is Fundora beatable? Could you beat him?
He lost before already.
Well, I know, but he sort of made some adjustments and come back as a bit more of a killer. I should phrase it, is Fundora beatable these days?
All fighters is beatable. It just take the right special type of fighter.
The pound-for-pound king, Terence Crawford, and the legendary winner, Antonio Tarver, are also big Charlo fans. They say that Jermell still rules the 154-pound division and stress that a truly exceptional special talent will always find a way to show a style flaw. According to Tarver, Charlo has all the tools she needs to stop the spread.
You know, he's gonna have to face Charlo because Charlo had never lost at 54. So that's something to be proven there, you know what I mean? And until somebody beat Charlo, who was the undisputed champion, you know what I mean? What have they really done? Because he was the last 154 undisputed. None of them would have belts if he would have never left the division.
By chance, would you classify with this win Fundora number 1 at 54?
I got to put him right there with Charlo.
Sean Porter, a past champion, thinks Jermell's story will end in a much darker way. Porter claims that Fundora's constant push from within will be a nightmare. He thinks the monster has the upper hand, which forces Charlo into a tough and tiring brawl where he has to keep hitting the chest to keep up with the fast pace.
I don't like that fight for Jermell Charlo. I just don't think that
What about with a win under his belt?
Right. Well, I just don't. Well, first of all, I just want to answer to the fact that he's trying to fight at 154 pounds.
Okay.
I'm 39, so that kid has to be at least 33. I don't think I'm more than 6 years older than him. 5 or 6, give or take, years older than him. And I think for him to be in his 30s, still fighting at the weight class that he turned professional at, and not unlike me, I stayed busy the entire time that I moved down and fought at 147. I was busy the entire time. He's been out of the ring as long as he hasn't had to touch. If you haven't had to touch 154, I'm just, I don't know his business. I don't know, his nutritional regimen, all that kind of stuff. But if you haven't had to touch 154, most fighters aren't walking around 10 pounds over their weight class until they're about 2 or 3 weeks away from a fight. Most fighters. I think this dude is. I think this dude is a legitimate 154 pound man that walks around right around 163, 164. If I'm chilling, 168, and I get back working and I'm back down to 160. He's a consummate professional. And even with that, his frame is just a 150. He's a man at 154 pounds. He's going to get a little older. He's going to grow a little bit. We'll see him at 160 at some point. We might see him at 168, but I don't think he's going to get much bigger beyond that especially if he's not doing any sort of weightlift training. To that point, I think it's bad news for Jermell Charlo trying to fight at 154 pounds, and he hasn't even had to touch 164 pounds in years now. It's been 4 years easily
since he knocked out Castano to become the only undisputed champion in the 4-belt era in this division's history.
Which year was that?
2022. StubHub.
That's what I said. 4 years. It's been easily 4 years since he's had to even touch 10 pounds over that weight limit. I think that he's going to have a...
The trouble didn't end with Fundora, though. Charlo used the night's rough energy to launch a full-on verbal attack on his biggest foes, showing that he had a big grudge against them. In a rant that was tense and hard to predict, he slammed Errol Spence Jr. and accused him of working with his enemies to hurt him. He also didn't spare Virgil Ortiz. He hit him hard and loudly declared himself the undisputed king of Texas fighting.
I ain't worried about none of them. Fuck Earl Spence, fuck Zion, and fuck Boots. Fuck all y'all 154.
Hey, you're out.
Ortiz, it is. I run Texas, dummy. I run Texas, dummy.
A lot of people in the sport are wondering what's causing this sudden, explosive behavior. A lot of people are wondering if Charlo is having a mental breakdown behind closed doors because of the huge stress of his recent, harsh loss to Canelo Alvarez. Was this brawl after the fight a planned piece of advertising genius, or was it the desperate outburst of a winner who didn't want to lose his hold on the top level of the sport?
They might be making a mistake fighting Tim Tszyu. I would, like, he could just fight Jermell. Jermell's been off and they the same age, but I'm not the promoter of the man.
Makes sense.
The man, they could just get a stadium somewhere in Houston or Dallas and just fight. Like, that's a big fight to me. No belt was going to be on the line, but that's a huge fight and it's a great backstory. And Ronnie knows Jermell. And Earl and Jermell know each other from, I'm sure they sparred countless amount of times with Derek. It's a huge fight.
Sebastian Fundora's response was eerily calm, which was very different from Charlo's angry rants. He stood in the middle of the ring, drenched in sweat and smiling bitterly. He liked all the noise. At the press conference after the fight, Fundora said calmly that it makes sense to fight the previous undisputed winner. His promoter, Samson Lukovic, made things even worse by saying they are going after every title and former champion they can find. Fundora is very scary right now because of how badly he evolved. Analysts have noticed that since his terrible loss to Mendoza, he has finally figured out how to use his huge height to its fullest. His personality has changed. He is no longer just a big guy who likes fighting inside. He is an advanced, powerful force that controls distances brutally and punishes anyone who tries to fly into his airspace.
Question for you and for Samson as well. To your point about being the WBC champion, Virgil Ortiz is the interim titleist for your world title. He's obviously going through some issues right now with his promoter, but what do you think of that fight? Why do you feel based on tonight you would beat him? And for Samson, how realistic is that fight to be done this year?
I don't believe it will happen because the boxing world have a problem this moment. And the worst thing sometimes is when management commit a mistake and doesn't recognize it. And when he recognizes it, it's too late. You know, Oscar de la Hoya, besides that to be my friend and part of my family, he treated that kid very well all his career. But sometimes management, he get greedy, and now he pay the price. What wish I talk about Ortiz in this moment, that probably he will not fight for the next year or so. And he will get stripped very soon of the WBC interim. So let's talk about somebody else. Tell me which one you want. And then I can tell you this is possible or not. But Ortiz is out of the game at this moment.
Is the winner of a potential Zayas and Ennis fight then realistic for Sebastian for this year?
Look, if it's in PBC, we have no issue. We're loyal to PBC, and we continue that way.
Sebastian, phenomenal performance. Crazy to sound like this, but I feel like you get knocked out by Brian Mendoza, probably the best thing that could have happened in your career. Ever since, we have seen you've been growing, right? You've been using your distance. Speaking of the next fight, Charlo was after the fight talking about he pretty much gave you guys the belt, that no one has beaten him. It makes sense to fight Charlo next. How do you like to fight with Charlo?
I think that's a great fight. It's a PBC fighter as well. The last undisputed 154 champion as well. So, you know, a fight with him seems like it makes sense.
These two natural forces are going to hit each other, and the stakes have never been higher. Sebastian Fundora thinks that beating Jermell Charlo is the most important thing that he can do to prove that he is the legitimate 154-pound champion and start his scary reign. It is a matter of life and death for Charlo to save his reputation, silence his harshest critics, and brutally take back the division he used to rule with an iron grip. The boxing world is holding its breath, and one huge question still stands. When the bell finally rings, can pure top boxing IQ and experience beat a living physical oddity? Is the growing fire just too big for anyone to put out? But we'd like to know what you think about this possible fight. Can Jermell Charlo beat Sebastian Fundora, who is a giant? Is he going to lose like Keith Thurman and the other super welterweights? Tell us what you think will happen in the comments. That's all for the video today. Remember to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon if you liked it so you don't miss any more movies. Do not forget to write your thoughts in the box below. Watch out for the next video.